to this month's edition, March 2014, of Mytech U. Today we're excited to present something a little different to everyone because we are a technology organization, but today we're not going to present on technology one bit. It's going to be about our culture and about some exciting tools that have helped us as an organization better engage and reinforce our values. And we have Dave James, who's been trained and certified on this intellectual property that we're about to share with you. And I look forward to having the discussion with everyone today. So, Dave, without further ado, would you please take it away and introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Nathan Austin. I really appreciate it. And I just want to say up front, it's such an honor to be able to present some of the concepts and tools that we use in our business with those of you who have joined us today. And we feel that culture is a really important part of what's made us successful here at Mytech. And I think that most of you who know the way we conduct our business, we like to associate ourselves with businesses that also appreciate that sort of business philosophy. So my name is Dave James. A little bit of a quick background on myself. I spend my days here working in our business development department. I wear a number of different hats, but when I'm working with clients and folks who contact us and want to work with Mytech, I'm dealing mostly in what I call the professional services group. This is businesses and organizations ranging in size from, say, 25 to 300 staffing or so, and there are companies like healthcare organizations and financial services and financial advisors, people who have security concerns or technology compliance regulations that they have to follow. So this is a little bit of a different thing that I do here at Mytech. Obviously doesn't have anything to do with business development, but it does, in a way it does. It has everything to do with it because all of our various people here in our various departments adhere to it. We believe in culture, and this is our focus on that. So a little bit about Mytech Partners. We are a managed service IT solutions provider. We're located in Roseville, Minnesota. We were founded in the year 2000. Today our staff is, I think as of yesterday, it was about 56. This past year we were voted one of Minnesota's top 100 best companies to work for, something we're very proud of, and I think that actually is partly attributable to our culture. Culture, as I mentioned, is a significant part of our organization. And make a difference, the concept of make a difference is one component of our culture, and that's what we're going to really focus on today. So I want to talk a little bit about make a difference and give you a little bit of insight as to how we first encountered and came to adopt this particular concept. So a few years ago, several of us here at Mytech were at a conference, and just faithfully, we were at a training, a leadership training, where Dr. Larry Little, who is an author and a business and life coach consultant, Dr. Larry Little was at this conference, and he did a presentation for us. And I remember those of us who were there kind of looked at each other and thought, wow, this is really pretty cool. We did not forget what we had learned. We came back to Minnesota and almost immediately worked on trying to integrate it into our business. So Dr. Little has spent his life enriching the lives of others, and this is one of several books that he's written. I would encourage all of you to maybe either purchase or reach out to me after our show or after this webinar or at some other time when I'm just talking with any of you. We have dozens and dozens of copies of this book, and we really like sharing it with people, so we'd be more than happy to provide a copy. So the book, Make a Difference, is well known among people who do, trying to choose my words here, well known among folks who are really focusing on or knowledgeable about personality testing. So many of us have taken, probably all of us, have at one point in our careers and lives, taken other personality tests, like DISC or Meyers-Briggs, for example. And all of those applications are very effective. They, I think they all do a good job in one way or another of measuring people's skill sets or people's personalities or the various components of what makes a human being, but I'll just focus on Myers-Briggs. For example, Myers-Briggs, you go through all the testing, and at the end of the day, it tells you what kind of personality you are, and it identifies, it puts you in a quadrant, right? And so the problem that most people have is while it does do a good job of assessing your personality, it's a little hard to know how to take that and run with it. How do you apply what you've learned in taking that sort of a test in real life? It gets a little complicated, and my experience, and certainly Dr. Little's experience, has been that when people get back to their office the next day or re-enter their lives, they tend to just, they don't know how to take everything they just were exposed to and apply them in their daily life. So what Make a Difference does is the same thing. It does test you and help you identify what personality type you are, but Dr. Little believes that simple is better, and so he came up with this concept about using animals as a way to describe people's personalities. And so it's really simple. You can see on the book there, if you look at the slide, where it shows little animals down there in those 4 small circles. There's lion, there's a camel, there's a monkey, and there's a turtle. And most of us certainly understand when we think about a monkey, for instance. I think we have some sort of an idea of what a monkey's personality is like, you know, playful and loud and jumping up and down, climbing trees, as where a lion is, king of the jungle. Not always necessarily jumping up in trees, but sitting on some knoll watching over his kingdom, and nobody messes with him because he is a lion. So animal types equal different personality types. So we're going to talk about that a little bit here. Let's dig into what I see as a problem for most organizations. And I threw this picture on here because it's a picture that I'm really fond of, and I keep it on the wall here in my office. And when people come to meet with me or when staff come in to chat with me, it inevitably captures their attention. So trying to be slightly amusing here, a little bit hard to do maybe in a webinar format, but this is a picture of my parents. So one could say my parents are the problem, but of course that's not the point I'm really trying to make. So my dad there on the right was an author, wrote books for a living. And my mom was a scientist. And no, she's not holding a grenade launcher there. It looks like I've had people make fun of her thinking she's a terrorist, but she is a scientist. And so that's a telescope that she has in her hand. So I just love this picture. This is down in Florida. I was born, raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. So my dad, the author, and my mom, the scientist, had 2 completely different personalities. Dad, you know, was an artist. My mom was a logical scientist. I can remember times when my dad loved to gamble, and by that I mean not like huge stakes at some blackjack table. I mean when they would travel, Dad would go to a casino in Atlantic City. Mom would stay back in the hotel and study or do something what she would consider a little more intellectual. And then my dad would just hit the slot machines for a nickel apiece. And if he was lucky, he might win 25 bucks. But the point to that is that Mom's scientific logic, just she couldn't understand why in the world would her husband want to risk losing money, because she knows the odds. All she could think about was the odds. So my point to that is they have really different ways of looking at the universe, right? Dad just processed information differently than my mom did. And so they had different personalities, and that's what I'm getting at when I talk about, I'm just using my mom and dad as an example of how 2 people think completely differently, but yet they have to live in the same universe and talk to each other and invest in each other's lives, make a difference in each other's lives. So I think it's a great example of of how personalities apply. And so I want to just park right there for just 1 second and talk briefly about how what makes up our personality. Basically, there's 3 things. There's genetics, right? Just how we're born, the DNA, the chemistry of our body. We have no choice in what we're given there. The environment in which we have grown up, and that has to do with just, maybe what part of the country you're raised in, or did you have an abusive childhood, or what are the conditions in which you were raised? And those things both are somewhat out of your control. Well, the genetics part certainly is out of your control, and the environment part really is out of your control too. You are in whatever environment you are in, and but both of those things affect your personality. The third thing is choice, however, our behavior, and we do have control over our behavior. Our behavior gives us the ability to make decisions and choose and just be proactive when it comes to how do we deal with what we're given, genetics and the environment. So which brings me back to my parents and how 2 people with such completely different ways of viewing the world could happily exist in the same universe. They were super happy. So one could articulate that the problem is about communication, but really the problem is how do we invest in the lives, or how do we invest in the lives of those of our ecosystem. We're all surrounded with friends, family, teams of people, clubs, church, and in the context of this webinar, business organizations. And so we're all given a really interesting gift in the sense that if we listen to the way we communicate and we listen to the way other people communicate, we can enrich the lives of those around us. And so one of Mytech's values, for example, is set up the next person for success. And that's a really difficult thing to accomplish if we're just not able to even communicate with each other. So really it's not just about communication, it's about taking advantage of the wealth of knowledge and experience that exists within any business. So let's talk about that just for a second. Think about how many years of experience you have. I think when people think about their staffing, they think about, well, yeah, I've got somebody that does accounting, and I've got somebody that does project management, et cetera. But I like to unpack that a little bit, and if you really think about the collective organization that is your business, and there's a lot of untapped potential. And so I like to look at how many years of experience does that all add up to. If you took every employee and stood them right next to one another and had each one an out, so I have 8 years experience, I have 17 years experience. And it may be that 8 years of experience of those 8 years, I don't know, maybe the first 7 years we're doing some job in some other company that's completely different than what they're doing now. But that's the thing. It's still their experience. It's still really, really valuable. It's gold. And if we as businesses don't take advantage of everybody's life experience, then we're missing a huge opportunity. We have to tap into that. We have to figure out how to get to that. And to do it, you have to make yourself uncomfortable. You have to think about the way they accept and the way they accept what you're saying and listen to what you're saying, and have to put yourself out there, invest in speaking in a language that they understand and can respond to, so that they'll hear you and you'll hear them. So something has to happen to make that work. There has to be some sort of tool, and right about now is when I would like for people hopefully to be saying, oh, that's great, Dave James. Cool, give us the tools to do that. I hear what you're saying. So Make a Difference is how Mytech has done that. I can tell you that here at Mytech, I was adding this up just yesterday. This is a little bit of a guess on my part, because there's a few people here in our organization that I haven't put through our Make a Difference training yet. But I'm guessing we at Mytech have about 790 years of experience. It might be 690. It might be 1,000. I'm not exactly sure. But the point is, that's a lot of years. And we want to be able to take advantage of that. So, enter Make a Difference, Dr. Little's book. So let's dig in, go to school a little bit, and unpack what the heck all this is about. So as I mentioned earlier in our presentation here, Make a Difference basically identifies 4 animal types and tries to associate those personality traits that go with those animal types to human beings. So let's just kind of walk through that a little bit. So first one is much loved monkey. Dr. Little's assignment of personality types fall into 2 categories. There's either task-driven individuals or there's people-driven personalities. The much-loved monkey is a very playful individual, someone who depends on human interaction. So the monkey is all about people. People. So as I move forward here, when I say monkeys love people and people love monkeys, I mean, an employee of yours or someone in your life who is a monkey, demonstrates a monkey personality. People love that person generally because they're playful and outgoing and love to tell stories. And that person loves people. And monkeys cannot be isolated. Monkeys need to be in groups of social environments that are fun. So let's just kind of review some of the basic traits here. There's both positives and negatives to all these personalities. Monkeys, as I said, love to be around people. They're very social. They like to joke. They like to tell stories. They're the ones that probably go to the coffee counter in your office in the morning and maybe spend a little more time than other people would like telling a story or talking about some incident in their life. Monday mornings, monkeys come into work and they always want to talk about their weekend. So those are all fantastic traits. But there's some negatives that go with being a monkey too. Monkeys they're not very organized, for instance. It's a little hard if you're a manager of a monkey and you ask that monkey to take care of a task, and that task is unravel this chaos. That is not going to be successful. Monkeys do not do well at that. You have to unravel the chaos yourself and then give a monkey some sort of assignment, and they'll get it done. Monkeys think of the world, they associate all the information they're getting on a given day. It's almost like think about a ball of yarn. It's all wrapped up together. Monkeys cannot separate the tasks and the functions and the words and all the things that happen in a business day. They can't split those things apart. They're all wrapped up together, much like a ball of yarn. One thing affects the other, and you cannot separate the two. Monkeys also are easily rejected. They can be a little sensitive because they're always putting their feelings out there. A lot of touching and hugging, and monkeys in your office you'll see they're quick to maybe it might be a handshake or a hand on your shoulder. Tell me about your weekend, and it's a very different, very almost emotionally infused moment with monkeys. The monkeys here in our office, you can spot them pretty quickly. Their cubicles are much more fun, a lot of memorabilia from fun times in their life. If I'm walking down the hall and I encounter a monkey, and I have some monkey in my, I'm a camel monkey myself. My primary is camel, but my scoring shows that just barely, by a teeny little bit, I'm also a monkey. So we call that camel is my priority, my primary personality, and monkey is my secondary. So I'm walking down the hall and I see another monkey. It's not unusual for me to notice someone's shirt or their outfit. And so if we role play it out here, if I were to say to a monkey, "Oh man, Jim, I just want to tell you that shirt, I'm not so sure about that. I don't think that color is maybe your best choice, but I just wanted to say it." So, all right, anyway, have a good day. I'm going to go grab some coffee. That monkey, because they can be a little overly sensitive, that monkey could take that comment, spin it, and spin it to the point where it goes from, well, wait, you don't like my shirt? Well, are you saying that I don't know how to dress? Are you saying that I don't understand anything about how to prepare for a work day? Well, are you saying my parents didn't raise me right? And they literally can take it. I mean, not literally, probably a bad choice of words on my part, but you get it, right? They can take that and it spins into a much bigger thing. As where a lion, with a lion's much more assertive personality, a lion would be more prone to react to my comment about his or her shirt. simply by saying, well, they probably wouldn't even let the words get out of my mouth. They'd just cut me off and start talking about a job or a task that needs to be done that day. So that's monkeys, and then I think lions next. Lions are next. Oh, I did forget to say one thing, that the way you communicate with a monkey is by basically focusing on look and touch and words. Those are kind of trigger words that are very that are essential to just communicating with a monkey. They will react to the look on your face. They will, as I mentioned, touch, and they will act to your words. So you have to be thoughtful in the words that you're using. So anyway, on to lions. So lions, on the other hand, are task-driven. Lions are visionaries. Lions are obviously very necessary in our lives. Lions think big, big things. They fly super high, super fast. They accomplish dreams. Lions see things the rest of us can't see. Lions are important in any organization. It's very often to see business owners and entrepreneurs who are very often lion personalities because they've got some idea. They sometimes haven't the slightest idea how to execute that idea, but they've got this brilliant idea, and so lions have to surround themselves with other people who are maybe supportive in the sense that they can take care of the tasks necessary to get that idea off the ground, because lions themselves can't do it. Lions sometimes can be, they can't do it in the sense because they're always thinking big. And then the minute they're done thinking about one big thing, they're on to the next big thing. Lions are not very successful at using filters, and I know I've heard Dr. Little talk quite often about how he wishes that lions would moderate what they say. Think about what they say, because very often what they say could be interpreted as offensive. Maybe not to a lion, but if a lion says something to a monkey who is people-oriented, absolutely that can be considered even rude. Lions are workaholics. Lions will spend countless hours devoting themselves to a project, because there's one thing that a lion is shooting for. A lion only needs one thing in life to be happy, and that is get the task done. Once that task is done, is there a celebration? Is there a pause? Is there a vacation? Generally, no. Lions, what makes them happy is immediately just moving on to the next task. So that can cause problems in the workplace, because what happens is lions will identify big giant tasks to get done, visionary things, and then he'll push staff, he, she, they. It could be a team of people who are maybe all lions who might have big picture tasks to get done. When that task gets done, however, after days and days and weeks of work, and then you finally get the task done, boom, we're finished. Fantastic, but lions often in the practice of getting that task done, all that work, kill relationships. The path to getting a task done for a lion is often littered with damage, and lions can be completely oblivious to this. They have no idea how many relationships they may have damaged on the way. And then what do you think happens when lions go home at the end of the day? You think they exhale and take a break and relax, maybe watch some TV? No. Lions, they might stop long enough for dinner or a quick conversation, then they're right back at it. I got to get on my phone. Let me check my email. I'm going to plan for what's happening next. So lions are valuable, but lions are also, the drawback is they're just maybe not very sensitive. So the way to empower a lion, the way to communicate with a lion, is basically by the focus on the accomplishment of a task. It's really simple. If you manage a lion, it might just be the best case where you just say, thank you for getting that job done. Here's what I have next for you. Let's review the details. Next animal type is camel. So the competent camel, Larry calls it. Camels are also task-driven like the lion, but that's where a lion paints with a big roller, a high level, 200,000 foot elevation, visionary stuff. Camels are small taskers. They paint with a detail brush, not a big roller. Camels are all about process. They're systematic. They're also, of course, very, very important to an organization. Camels are how the job gets done. Camels, they get right to the point. A, B, B1, B2, C, D, all the way through Z. They get the details taken care of. And in our industry, here at Mytech, we have, if you were really to break out all the various animal types in our organization, I think we have more camels probably than any other animal group. Because we have a lot of tasks that need to get done in our managed service department, for example. Part of what people hire Mytech for is to watch over their network, and there's a lot of tasks that we have to watch over. And so we've got a whole group of people back there, all camels, who excel at what they do because they just love poring over lists and check boxes and details and organization. Camels have get these descriptions up here for you. Camels have high expectations of themselves. They expect things to be done perfectly. They're very quality oriented. They will keep hitting on something until they get it right. So that's obviously a really valuable quality to have in an organization. But that also causes some problems, like anything in life. There's assets and liabilities. The liability to that quality-oriented personality is they can also be very critical of themselves. If they can't finish a task appropriately in a way they feel was effective, then they go home at the end of the day very unhappy. And in fact, there's a lot of research out there people who exhibit camel-like personalities, people who are really into these detail lists, systematic approach to getting things done. Very often they suffer from some level of depression because their expectations of the world. Well, two things happen. Let's break it up into two categories. If a camel is talking to another person in your organization, he or she might be expecting to go over the list, the minutiae, right? The details of whatever they're trying to get accomplished. If the person they're talking to does not effectively communicate like that and like provide results from that list-oriented approach to things, then the camel basically invalidates who they're talking to. The camel doesn't respect that person. And conversely, if the camel himself doesn't get that list done accurately, then he obviously is not happy. There's that depression thing, but he also realizes that he hasn't reached perfection. Like camels they live their days hoping to achieve perfection, really, and that it's just, as all of you know, that's just not possible. You can achieve excellence, but you cannot achieve perfection. So what happens is they spiral into I don't know if it's actually depression, but it's if I don't like me, then I don't like others. So all of a sudden, camels get really grouchy in the work environment too. And sometimes you have no idea what it's about, but they're very emotional that way. They really have a hard time processing. So camels are validated by the quality of the task. It's all about specifics. It's all about minutiae. And then there's turtles. The Tranquil Turtle, as Dr. Little likes to call it. So turtles are quiet. I paused like that deliberately because I want everybody to exhale, breathe, think about tranquility, offices where the lights are turned down low and the blinds may be shut, because turtles like to isolate themselves in their offices, sometimes with other turtles, and they're completely happy doing that. They're very, very thoughtful in the way they go about their work. Turtles, a lot of people think turtles are not necessarily very valuable in the workplace because the lion might think a turtle is just wasting a lot of time. But in reality, Dr. Little believes, and I have seen evidence of this here at our organization and across the breadth of other organizations where I've presented this information to, it's very common to ultimately realize that turtles are possibly the most valuable employees you have in your business. They have a lot of wisdom. They're listening to everything that's happening. They're observing everything that's happening. But it's a little like those old E.F. Hutton commercials on television where the tagline was, when we speak, what was it? When E.F. Hutton speaks, you better listen, or something to that effect. But camels, I'm sorry, too many animals. When turtles do have a moment to actually say something, very often the words that come out of their mouth are really, really valuable. Now, they won't interrupt chaos, because turtles don't like chaos. They won't put their hand up in the middle of a meeting where people are animated about some subject and say, wait, hold on, I've got to say something. Turtles need to be given an audience. You have to find a pause in the momentum of the chaos to give turtles a chance to offer their input. You just have to be careful to not assume that they're unmotivated or lazy. They're not. They're really valuable. But in most organizations, two things need to happen. You have to be able to give turtles a chance to speak. And then you turtles also, you need to sometimes make yourselves a little uncomfortable too and put yourself out there and take a chance and say something. And when that happens, it can be really powerful. Turtles are validated by one thing and one thing only, time, T-I-M-E, time. Communicating with a turtle. Now, turtles are, just to review, remember how monkeys are people-driven and lions are task-driven, big task-driven. Camels are small task-driven. Turtles are person-driven, individual person. Turtles have a desire to connect with people, but it's more a one-on-one thing. They like relationships that are meaningful, but not necessarily in the form of big groups. So it's all about silence with turtles. And if you think about turtles like this, if you're trying to get work out of a turtle, or if you are a turtle, and you've got a lion who is insisting you get something done. Come on, I've got this vision. We've got a task to get done. It's really important. Let's work. It's the equivalent to a turtle of having a turtle tapper. How many of you have you ever tapped on a turtle shell? If you were to take a turtle, put it on the ground, and take your finger and just, I don't know if you can hear it here, start tapping it, because that's what a lion says. Come on, let's work. And the turtle, what do you think happens when you use a turtle tapper on a turtle shell? Well, it just pulls itself. It retreats more and more into its shell. So the way you get a turtle to work is or just to be, the way you get communication to work with a turtle is to communicate in a quiet, silent fashion. So those are the four animal types, and they all basically boil down to one of several myths that Dr. Little promotes in his book, and that is this. This is, I think, the one I'd like to promote here in this webinar. Myth. We believe that everyone shares the same value views we do. And I'd like for everybody just to throw that out. Presume that that is not true. People have a tendency, well, if I believe this, surely everybody else in my organization believes this. If this is important to me, I am absolutely positive everyone else thinks the same thing is just as important to them. And if you think about all the personality traits of the four animals that I just described, that absolutely is not true. That is a myth, and it's one of the concepts in Dr. Little's book that he promotes. So I'm going to flip through these last few slides here, just watching my time here. So this is the same slide we started with a few minutes ago about the much-loved monkey, but to demonstrate how that myth is a bust, how it's not true. So here's how a monkey thinks. Here are much-loved monkey traits. We've already reviewed them. However, here's what a camel thinks about a monkey. Completely different set of characteristics. Camels think monkeys are arrogant, unfocused, silly, disruptive. So how can a person with all those personality traits possibly function in a business? And I'm going to show you how here in a minute. Here's the traits that we already reviewed for a camel. Logical, list, systematic, quality-oriented. However, here's what monkeys think about camels. They drive each other nuts. Monkeys think camels are perfectionist, anal, time-conscious, overly detailed, bland. It's very difficult for those two animal types to be effective with each other. And we'll go through the rest here. Here's the turtle with their peace-oriented, quiet wisdom. Here's what a lion, but if you ask a lion what he thinks about a turtle, this is what they'll say. It's frustrating. They're so slow. They're unmotivated, lazy. So that's what I was referring to a minute ago, where I think it's a little dangerous to presume that a turtle is not a valuable employee or a valued person in your life. Turtles are exceptionally valued. You just have to get past this whole thinking that they're frustrating and slow. They're thoughtful. Give them a stage to reveal that thoughtfulness, and you'll be amazed how it can make a difference in your life. And the last one here, here's the lion traits again. And then what do you think? Turtles think about lions? You can guess where this is going. So turtles think that lions are just completely overpowering, inconsiderate, impatient, aggressive, loud, overbearing, arrogant, and it's all those words could be. They're all turtle tapper kind of words, right? They completely aggravate the turtle's ability to be effective. So Dr. Little's book and the integration of these concepts into our business here at Mytech have to do with learning how to validate those we lead. We actually think of all of our staff here at Mytech as leaders. Some are big leaders, some are smaller, but we all lead people in our lives. Yes, we have friends and loved ones at home. We lead our family members, our wives and husbands and kids, employees here at our organization. We all have to work with each other, so we have to lead each other. So it's really, remember the years of experience I mentioned earlier, guessing we have, where it was, 790 years of experience. So Dr. Little believes that if you can utilize these concepts that he reviewed in his book, that it will it'll tap into all that wealth of years, all those years of experience that amounts to diversity. You combined, a business is all about people. Wouldn't you all agree? A business is all about, we all sell things, we all do things, we all provide services, we all provide expertise. But I'll tell you, without people, there'd be nobody to sell to, there'd be no employees to do anything, nothing would get done. So at the end of the day, a business, no matter what you sell or what service you provide, it's still about the people. And the secret is to tap into the diversity of those people. So since we all lead, we all have to find ways to lead those around us. I was going to spend just a couple of minutes talking about who makes the best leader. People ask me all the time, who leads the best? Lions? Camels? Turtles? People always tend to answer lions. But that's just because lions are the loudest. Lions are the ones who roar the most. They're the ones who have all that amazing, beautiful, visionary vision for the future. And so, but that's not necessarily true. Most organizations, in fact, I would venture to say sometimes monkeys actually make the best leaders because people love them. People will follow them to the ends of the earth. Personality. So, but Dr. Little talks about how all animal characteristics are, there's very successful leaders in our world. If you think about presidents, for example, we all more or less know the personality of presidents. If you think about what president in our past is a monkey, I would suggest it's probably Bill Clinton. Loved to talk a lot, was playful, maybe a little too playful. Who in our past list of presidents is a lion? George W. Bush, I think. Bush managed his presidential office with a big stick. By gosh, when he said something, it was no secret. People knew what he was about. Camel, I actually think our current president, Barack Obama, is an example of a camel. If you watch the way Mr. Obama does presentations or does speeches, he's really great as long as he's on script, if there's a teleprompter, for example. But the minute he's off script, he kind of starts losing himself a little bit, ad-libbing, not the best for him. And then turtle, I've had people suggest Lincoln, perhaps. It's interesting how that comes up over and over. And, but I would say Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was a brilliant orator, but in order to do that, he had to kind of make himself uncomfortable. He had to put himself out there and learn how to do something that wasn't natural to him. Turtles, to remind, enjoy one-on-one relationships. They're person-driven. And Reagan, when he came to office, well, through his whole life, he had a set of kitchen cabinet advisors that he took with him everywhere. And remember how he had to spend a lot of time. He's always heading off to Camp David for weekends. Seems like more than a lot of presidents. It's because he needed to renew himself. Turtles need to retreat occasionally and renew themselves so that they can come back and make a difference in other people's lives. So Reagan, on the other hand, even though I think he was a turtle, was also a good speaker. And that's because he understood that great leaders, sometimes you have to learn how to get in other people's personality traits. So even though he was a turtle, he knew he had to learn how to reach out and make a point to lions, monkeys, and camels. In his case, he learned it brilliantly. He learned how to communicate so effectively. I'm sure we can all remember amusing little quotes from Reagan. He's a funny guy. But those things were not necessarily natural to him. He had to, retreat and renew himself frequently when that happens. How did Mytech do it? I know I'm watching the clock here. How did Mytech integrate all this? I'll step through how we did it. So we make the introduction of these Make a Difference concepts a part of our new employee onboarding process. Every employee that comes on board goes through a little bit of just a kind of a basic summary of these concepts. Once a quarter, we take all of our employees and we take an afternoon off to, I'll just call it renew our vows, but basically just update them and remind them of the concepts and just make sure, particularly with our new employees who haven't, it's a 4-hour program that we do. But we also like to talk about with our clients and do things like what I'm doing right now, talk about it with other businesses that we associate ourselves with. So it's our client outreach, and we actively integrate it into our daily language in our office space. So a lot of times you'll hear us, any of you who've ever been to our office, you'll hear us say things like, well, oh, that's his camel. We have to remember that. And so when you walk through our office, you'll see all sorts of visual reminders about the Make a Difference concepts. This is just a kind of a quick snapshot of a few of those. We all have nameplates on our offices that show whether we're a monkey or a camel, etc. We all have stuffed animals. We have tons of stuffed animals. People notice them. I mean, it's amazing. We'll have clients come in to chat with something highly technical. Obviously, we're an IT company, but we always end up having conversations about Make a Difference. So quick offer as we approach the end of our presentation here. I love talking about this, and I spent a great deal of time last year working with Dr. Little to become credentialed and sort of certified to present these concepts on his behalf. And I would be happy to chat with more of any of you. My offer would be I have like a 1-hour presentation I can do, and I have a 4-hour presentation I can do. So I guess my offer in this moment is talk to me about that. I would love to chat with your staff about some of these things, because at Mytech we believe that a business is an ecosystem that includes not only healthy technology but healthy communication and functionality among your staff. So the other part of my offer, and Nathan, you might want to touch on this, is that we have our Mytech's annual technology conference coming up here in April, Tech Pulse. If those of you on the webinar here have not been to Tech Pulse, I am officially inviting you at Tech Pulse. I will be doing a breakout session where I actually will give the test. It's just a little quick 3 to 5 minute test, and we'll do some interactive discussions. Really, really fun, I promise. So if everybody here, please come to Tech Pulse. This is my invitation, and make it a point to come to one of the breakout sessions that I'll be doing about Make a Difference. So Nate, I don't know if anybody's asking questions. Here's my contact information. You're welcome to call me here at my office. You're welcome to reach out to me and call me on my cell phone. here's my email address. We'll be making this webinar available to all of you. And with that, I would like to say thanks to everybody for letting me chat about this. It's really make a difference. It's really valuable to us, and I hope that it's been meaningful to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Day. Did a great job. You know, the one thing that I guess just maybe I'll make a comment, and if you have any further comments on it, as far as just what Make a Difference has meant to me, and how I've seen our staff interact with it is, you know, you mentioned the Myers-Briggs and the discs and those kind of things,
Yeah.
and what I've seen in just all the colleagues that I've worked with over the years, not only within our organization but with peers and so on, is that some of them can pick up some of the traits from these other ones. I know that some, you know, people that are familiar with disc, they'll reference, oh, they're a high D or whatever. But yeah, that never really sunk in with me, you know. And there's some, I'm sure there's other people that it hasn't really sunk in either. But you know, there's a few people that hang on to that. So you know, I'm sure, and for them, that's very valuable. But just taking that and extrapolating into how does that play into our organization, we wanted to make sure that people could use this information, that there was something that you could remember and use in your day-to-day life and language. And we've seen that have that kind of, we've seen Make a Difference have that kind of impact within our organization. When people will reference, okay, that's just his camel. You need to make sure to give him lots of details. Oh, that's his monkey or her monkey, and so you got to just, you know, they're going to be playful, and you know, but just that's okay. Bring them down to earth, and that's fine. Or you know, that's their turtle. We need to go back there and be quiet. We need to be slower than normal, and people use that language, and they recognize those different traits in people. And for the first time in my work history and experience, you know, you're able to take and extend this language beyond the leadership team or beyond the people that may be actually presenting it or investing in it themselves. It has been able to, you know, permeate our staff and how they interact with each other, and that to me has been the biggest difference that Make a Difference has made amongst our team.
So I can add one quick thing to that. I'm sure people have maybe heard the term blinking, like blinking is a term that describes how do you assess someone's personality in a blink, in just a split moment. So we all have meetings, we all have times when we have to sit down in front of maybe new clients, and we have to figure out kind of what makes them tick, what's their personality like, so that whatever we're about to say will be effective. And so I'll tell you, after you get used to kind of doing that language, like you mentioned, Nathan, in your everyday business life, you also kind of get used to blinking people silently. But you can walk into a meeting at a conference table, for example, and pretty quickly blink those people sitting around the room and tell, well, you don't necessarily say it out loud, but you figure out, all right, that person's a camel, that person's a monkey. And you'd be amazed how much more effective it makes conversations with our clients. I would presume all of those of you on the webinar here are your clients.
All right, well, with that, Day, thank you very much. And for everyone who is watching this online or watched it live, thank you for your time. I hope that we've started to make a difference in your life, and we look forward to continuing our partnership and relationship through events like Tech Pulse and through just hopefully working together at some point in the future. And so we'll sign off for this month's edition of Mytech U, and if we ran the zoo, and how you can make a difference in the lives of those you live, love, and lead. Thank you very much, and have a great day.